Hello, YouTube friends. If you can't take the data to the model, just take the model to the data. And that's exactly what Google just did. They stuffed machine learning right into BigQuery. Wow. I'm going to walk you through a simple hands-on example of BQML. Welcome to the Viral ML Show. My name is Manuel Monetizing. I'm the author of a few books, including Monetizing Machine Learning, a book where I walk you through a few machine learning examples, and we extend them to the web, into the serverless cloud, so the entire world can access them. We even look at paywall so you can monetize some of those efforts. So sign up for my newsletter and connect and subscribe to the channel. This talk will be classified under data science, the data science button there, so check it out. This makes a lot of sense to me. You know, now you can create entire models just using standard SQL language. Once you've trained a model, even the model itself becomes a table inside of BigQuery that you can just query like you would query anything else. You pass it data and it's going to return predictions. So it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I didn't see it coming. I didn't think about it, but now that I see the final package, I mean, it makes sense. I can see that. I totally see it. I personally love BigQuery. I've used it for a long time. I love it probably as much as I love YouTube, but I think they definitely took this whole BigQuery to a whole new level, and it makes sense. It is still in beta. You can do linear regression, logistic regression, multi-classification. And that's an example I'm going to show you right now. And there's also, great functions with BigQuery. You can do correlations. You can do all sorts of things. For those who are not familiar with BigQuery, it's a massive data warehousing system powered by Dremel. I've used it with petabytes of data, and you're innocently typing a little SQL select statement, and under the hood, if the data set is huge, it's going to spin off, as many compute engines as it needs, and it's just like a hot knife through butter. It will just return as if you're, querying MySQL on your local machine. Be careful though; it's not free, right? All those compute engines that is spinning off to return your results, you're going to be charged, right? And that's their business model. So unless you're a billionaire, you may want to rethink. You may want to be careful about the way you're querying. And there's a little indicator, I'll show it to you, that tells you the size that you're going to query. So whenever you see terabytes there, gigabytes there, just be careful. In this example, it's not going to be at scale. It's going to be on the nanoscale. We're going to take the iris data set, and I'm going to port it into BigQuery, and then we'll run a BQ model on it. So it's super simple. You will need to have a Google Cloud account. And if you're new at this, Google Cloud offers, I think last time I checked was like $300 credits, and it's going to be plenty for this exercise and 1,000 more. So the first step we need to do is, you need to go to BigQuery, to Google Cloud, GCP, and create an account. Once you have an account, here I'll open mine. So here is my account. I created one just for this video, but this is what the Google Cloud Platform looks, and I'm in BigQuery. So you simply hit the the little hamburger and look for BigQuery, and there's all sorts of options here that I'm not going to go through it, but we just need one. We need BigQuery. You may also need to turn in things in the API. So if you do, just simply type API, and it will tell you the API services, and it'll tell you if it has a problem or if you're missing an API, because I may have turned mine a long time ago and I don't remember which one they were, but it's pretty straightforward. You'll know you'll know if you're missing something. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to assume you have your Google Cloud account up and running. You got BigQuery up and running. So we need to create a data set. So I'm going to click on my account. I'm going to go create data set, a database, and let me just get the correct name the way I named it here. I'm going to call this IrisDB. So it's going to be IrisDB, perfect. And there it is. And now we have our data set ready. We need to import the data. We're going to create a table in this data set, and we're going to import into that table the iris data set. The iris data set, you can get it from the University of California Machine Learning Repository. They are very generous. They have all sorts of great data sets for you to check out. And the Python notebook to do so is also in the description. It's super easy to do. You should be able to just call the URL for the data, and it should import everything directly into pandas. We're gonna keep everything as is. It's basically we're gonna predict a flower type, and there's 4 features. We're gonna add an ID field. That's gonna be important for BQ, the BQML engine. And so now we have our features, our class that we're trying to predict. It's going to be a multi-class, and the ID field I just added. We're going to write everything to file. Perfect. Now, we need to import the data into our database. So I'm going to hit the plus button, create table. And this is perfect. You need to pass a name. I'm going to call it iris_table. Okay, let me see. And here, okay, so here you need to do upload. And you need to point to the CSV here. Perfect, iris.csv. Perfect. Another thing you need to do is do schema and input parameters. You want it to detect the schema automatically. That's fine. That's what we want. I think that's good. So you create table. And now it imported the iris data into BigQuery. We should be able to query it. So here's a little query table. Just put a little star symbol in there. And look at that. We can't see it because I don't have that much space, but there it is, right? We have our data looks good. We're good to go. Okay, so now we have the iris data. We have the iris data into our iris database. Now we need to do the good stuff. Now we're going to create the model. So the code should be there. All you will have to do is make sure you change the names to correctly identify your project name. So this is my project name. Testbed is called testbed-a-number.irisdb, which is here, and a model. You can call it model 1, 2, it doesn't matter. I'm calling it model. And actually, no, I'm going to call it model 1. And then I'm asking for logistic regression. I am saying, there's some, the iterations, the learning rate, that's fine. The input label columns, that's your outcome. That's what you want to predict. It's going to be the class. And here is one thing that you need to do. You want to split, right? So it can split from training and testing. So I'm doing, split on the ID column. That's why I added the ID column. And I'm saying, select from the table that we just created. So here too, you'll have to make sure that this points to your project, this points to your project, and you're good to go. So this is that simple here. We're creating a model. We're giving some options to the model, and we're telling what data we want to train the model with. It's that simple. I'm going to hit the run button. If all goes well, it's going to run. And it's running. It's training the model. And once it's trained, it's going to save it under my database, the IrisDB, and it's going to be called Model 1. It's that simple. It's really cool. I like the fact that it's, we can do all of this in standard SQL language. And the standard SQL language is actually really powerful. You can do a lot of things. You can aggregate it, you can group it, you can impute it, you can do correlations. So why not, allow you to attach modeling capabilities directly to your code? And that's exactly what we're doing here. So I'm going to put it on pause. It shouldn't take longer than 1 or 2 minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. This green number here is what you need to always look. Whenever you're querying anything, make sure this is very small. If it's big, if you see gigabytes or terabytes or petabytes, it's going to cost you money. Just keep that in mind. This is kind of like your estimate of the size it's going to need, how much compute space it's going to need to create in order to run this. And if it's in the petabytes, it could get very expensive very fast. But here we're talking about nothing, so we're good. So the model is created, and look at that. The model is here now. We see under Iris table, we have our model 1. So now we're going to evaluate the model. Also super simple to do. The code is all there. Only thing I need to do is I need to change this to model 1 because I named it as a different model name. And I'm simply saying star. So get all the data you want. And, to evaluate it would be better if you had, kept a certain amount of data just for that. So we're not doing that here. We're cheating a bit. Keep that in mind. But it's going to return the results, an accuracy of 0.6, almost 0.7, an F1 score of 0.5, and an AUC of 0.83. So not bad for such a simple model, so fast, and definitely things you can do is you can play around with these options. Maybe change the learning rate, change the iterations, right? Play around with it, change the L1, all things you can do to have some fun with it. Now, we're ready to predict. I'm going to pass we're going to call the ml.predict. You pass it the model. So I need to change the model name to model 1. And here, I'm just kind of inventing things. We can do 4, I could do 3. I have no idea what it is, right? This is completely made up. but I'm passing the 4 variables it needs to predict. As you see, there's no ID or there's no class, because this is like, imagine this is a live scenario and we're ready to predict data. I hit predict, and there it is. It's saying it's a iris versicolor, and it tells you the confidence it has between the 3 different classes. So it's a lot more confident, right? For this one, this column should add up to 1. It's a lot more confident, and it returns a value. So this is pretty cool for reporting as well. Not only do you have your prediction, it tells you the balance of each class, and it tells you all the features that it used for the model, so that you can use for reporting, for transparency, and for it to then feed it back into some kind of workflow or process flows. So all the fun. I mean, I think this is a very promising tool. BigQuery has proven to be a quite a data warehousing tool with the capabilities of extremely large data, big data. So adding a modeling capabilities to that tool is phenomenal. My only word of warning is, keep in mind that the BigQuery model is their business model around BigQuery is the amount of time you use it and the size you use it. So just keep that in mind. It can get expensive if you're not careful. Here the sizes for this iris predicting on the iris data set is trivial. It's nothing. But once you do real models, and the power of BigQuery shines when you have petabytes of data. So that's when it's powerful, but that's when it can get expensive. Catch you next time.